Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope everyone's doing great and having a great day. So it is finally August 1st. This is the day that we've all been waiting for 10,000 years. The Bitcoin price is currently down by 3%, which is surprising. Like, I honestly thought that it was going to crash, but it was actually higher when the day first started for me. And I can see that it's slowly sliding down. And I don't know if this is the beginning of the end of the push to bring the price up. But yeah, it's only down 3%. Surprisingly, Ethereum is up 11%. I couldn't find any news as to why it was up. I don't know why that's going on. IOTA is also up 11%. The markets kind of don't make any sense right now. Litecoin's only down about 1%, and all the other coins are up anywhere from 1 to 3%. Bitcoin, like, there is no dramatic crash. There is also no dramatic high swing. I mean, 11% for Ethereum because of its price is also pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie at all as an Ethereum lover. But yeah, there's a lot of drama going on with this entire blockchain split. People I know who were trying to use exchanges and stuff like that earlier, and the exchange either wasn't working or they were getting that error message that says, can you try again later? And it's so I hope everyone did what they needed to do to get their money away from any place that they might have needed to, or are just holding tight for the 24-hour period to be over, because a lot of exchanges are just not doing too well right now with the pressure from the selling and stuff like that. So once again, my favorite place in the entire world, Coinbase, is back in the news, even from just yesterday. Where do I even begin? So the entire Bitcoin Cash thing, they've said before on the platform that they are not going to start using Bitcoin Cash or give it to any of the people who are on their platform. Which, I mean, okay, that's great. That's their prerogative. It is their website. But like, remember about a week and a half ago, I gave the first list of places that would be accepting, or wallets that would be, giving people this Bitcoin Cash if they had their money in Bitcoin already. And then, within a couple of days, I made another list, and it was like about 10 times larger than the first one, because, logically, when you have something that you can give to other people, bottom line is people like to complain, and people will also complain if they know that other people are getting something for free that they also could have gotten, because I know I would have definitely been one of the people who would have complained. So it appears, I'm not sure if this is just in New York or where exactly this is taking hold, but there are a lot of people who now believe that by using Coinbase, that Coinbase is violating their rights in some sort of way, and I'll explain that in a second. So apparently there's something called common property laws, and it pretty much states that the product of an asset will also belong to the owner of the original asset. There's a guy who wrote about this on Twitter, and I think this is kind of where it took place. I don't know if the guy was an analyst, a lawyer, or what he was, but this is kicking up a lot of dirt. So he pretty much said, if you own a cow, and the cow gives birth, you then also own the calf, because it is part of what was there before. So it is also your property. So he pretty much said, for lack of a better way of saying it, he said, if I have given my cow to Coinbase and that cow is capable of creating a calf, and it does, I then also own the calf. And he's saying that Coinbase is denying people from this, et cetera, and that they're breaking the law. I mean, it might be a bit of a stretch, but I kind of see where he's going. I don't understand why Coinbase has such like ridiculous problems. It's so many things that could be easily solved if they just got with the program. They could have seen this coming. I'm sure there are people on their platform. There are tons of people I've read in other on forums and other places, people who have like I've said before, like $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 worth of Bitcoin. So imagine how much Bitcoin that is. Imagine how much free Bitcoin Cash they would have gotten. And it's like, you can't I saw all of this coming from about 10,000 miles away. There's no way that these people are gonna sit back as they're being denied possibly 30, 40, 50 free Bitcoin Cash. And I'm not sure if this was instantaneous or exactly when this happened, but Coinbase came forward and they said that the reason, it's actually apparently in their user agreement that they said, apparently it said something about hard forks or whatever the case might be, that they are not liable. Anything to protect them. So this is what they're saying. They say we're completely covered by our user agreement, so we are not liable in any way, or we did not have to give Bitcoin Cash. But they said that if they ever do decide to support Bitcoin Cash, which I assume will happen eventually because Coinbase likes to jump on things that are popular. So if Bitcoin Cash ever becomes popular, they said that if they ever decide to support Bitcoin Cash, then users will then be credited the amount of Bitcoin Cash that they would have had on the 1st of August, if that makes sense. So if they decide to integrate it into their systems 1 year from now, and whatever, if you had 2 Bitcoin on there at that time today, you would then receive also 2 Bitcoin Cash. And I assume it's going to happen eventually. I'm not particularly 100% bullish on Bitcoin Cash, but I think it's going to be big. I mean, if Ethereum Classic is still around, I mean, come on, like this is literally an exact copy of Bitcoin. But I've said that multiple times, and I'm not going to beat a dead crypto horse. That is kind of redundant at this point. So I've made videos on the financial crisis a long time ago, and you guys were all part of it. You guys know exactly. I don't really have to explain 100%, but yeah, this was back in 2008, and this is kind of the reason why Bitcoin was created in 2009. The entire 2008 crisis fell on the backs of home loans and housing loans and things like that. I'm not sure if it was the same in other English-speaking countries, but I remember being in America, visiting family and stuff like that. And I'm sure I know the UK was also really affected by this. Not so much Canada, but I think other English-speaking countries were. Every single commercial that I saw on the TV, literally, like if it wasn't something for some other product to buy, every other commercial was about home loans and getting a home loan, and you can get 100% home loan. And these people, I knew so many people who had 100% home loans, and this was really before I got heavily into investing. So I knew the basics of what a mortgage was, but not, I didn't understand that getting something for 100% wasn't the greatest idea in the entire world, because especially with interest rates and all this other stuff. So there were tons of people who were getting 100% home loans. And this is pretty much what happened in America. I knew tons of people who got it, and all the other people who I didn't know who had them as well. And when you can't pay back these things because they were giving home loans to people who didn't have jobs, who didn't have anything in the bank. Can you imagine if you do not understand how money works or how money is made, and you do not have a job, and someone says, here is $200,000 to go buy that house, and you move into that house and you start receiving letters and stuff like that says you have to pay this, you're not going to understand what's going on. There are a lot of celebrities who have gotten millions or whatever the case might be, and they have bought homes, and they actually didn't know that they had to pay for water and heating and gas and all this other stuff. I don't know where that mindset comes from, but this is the main reason why the financial crisis happened. So my point is that the stock market is very high right now. And since literally about 2012, I've been hearing constant whispers about a new stock market crash, because I think everyone is kind of at the point where before we may have been fooled a bit, but it's kind of evident that things aren't going too great right now. So there are a lot of analysts who are coming forward and saying that while the last stock market crash was based off of home loans, this one is actually corporate loans, tons of loans to big and small businesses. And it's literally the same exact thing where these, not mortgages, what's the word? So pretty much these loans that were rejected by other bigger banks, they kind of get sold off to smaller banks, and they were repackaged. And when you repackage enough of them, it kind of upgrades their grade and it makes them better, quote unquote, which it does not. This is why the entire travesty happened. So this is apparently happening again with corporate loans, and it's not looking good. And I think it's so interesting. We're in a period right now where cryptocurrencies are becoming more heavily adopted. Everyone is talking about them. So many people who I know and haven't seen in a long time, whatever the case might be, are talking about these coins constantly. We're also at a period where the stock market is just constantly going up. All these companies are record profits and record this and so and so and so. And at a certain point, it can't go on forever. The stock market will not go up forever. We know that within 7 or 8 year periods, this is when the market tends to crumble. And at this point, we are, what has it been, 9 years? And the market's at an all-time high. So it'll be an interesting period that we are living through if the cryptocurrency markets are relatively stable because when most of us got into these things were going up by 30-40% a day and then slamming down 50% and coming back up, et cetera, et cetera. They were just horrible, very very urgent, horrible days when you would look at the markets and think you would think you're completely broke. So we're at the point where coins are going down 4 or 5% and then going back up around the same exact numbers. If the stock market crashes, what will then happen to cryptocurrencies? I do not think that they will crash in any way, shape, or form anytime soon unless they are banned. I've said this many times. I think the only way that the crypto market will completely crumble is if America and Europe bans these coins. This is, I think, the only real way because people will continue to use them regardless. So if the market does eventually crash, and we're literally at that point, all the charts point to that it should have happened last year, and even the if you've watched any movies about the financial collapse, all the signs were pointing to it in 2007, and the markets remained strong until 2008. So it was literally like an extra year where things kind of held on tight, and everyone was making this great amount of money, which is exactly what's happening now. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people who I'm sure a lot of people who invest in cryptocurrencies are also probably in stocks and bonds and mutual funds and stuff like that. But we're going to live through an interesting period to see exactly what happens. So many analysts were saying, Bitcoin might hit 55,000 a coin. That would probably be realistic if we entered into another mini depression and tens of thousands of people were losing their jobs. There's already a huge jobless problem all over the world because things are being automated. But not to get off topic. Yeah, I just saw this article about that and I thought it was extremely interesting, especially because of the year that it is and the stuff that we're going through and how much cryptocurrency market has kind of exploded and where it is now. So the final thing is that I was reading about this analyst named Ronnie Moaz, M-O-A-S. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. He's the guy who originally predicted that Bitcoin would hit $5,000 a coin. I don't know how long ago he did that, but he's not far off at the moment. He's now saying that Ethereum will double during this year to over 400, which also isn't a stretch. I kind of wonder why he made that prediction, especially when I think it didn't hit like 392 or something like that. So it's not like it couldn't have gone up $8 more to hit 400. But yeah, he is saying that all these coins are ready to have a gigantic bull run, which I've been saying for a while. I think everything has been held back by August 1st. I'm not even joking. If you guys look back at the timeline of all the charts and stuff like that, everything was going up perfectly. There was nothing wrong. And then about a month and a half ago, when all this entire SegWit stuff started coming up, which went on for 2 years, they were talking about increasing the block size for 2 years. Why does it take 2 years? But I digress. Prices were constantly going up, and I think that we still would be in this thing right now. Like whenever we have like great news days or things are kind of going okay, I've mentioned before in videos, we were up like 10-12% on certain coins, but then the fear sets back in from SegWit and the entire thing, and now the Bitcoin Cash thing. But yeah, he also says that Litecoin could also be touching near $100 towards the end of this year. I don't know what event he foresees happening, but I am not mad at him in any way, shape, or form. He's claiming that a ton of other investors will be leaving other asset classes, so stocks, bonds, mutual funds, what have you, because they want greater profits with cryptocurrencies, which is why I have so many people asking me about them. I have a lot of friends who are also getting into these things because setting aside the 3,000% increases that we've had this year, even when you invest in normal markets, so, like the stock market, et cetera, you're used to if you get around a 6 or 7% return in a year, you are jumping for joy because that is a great number. But when you see other people making 100% in about a week and a half, that turns a lot of heads, and especially for people who have a lot of money who can invest in these things. I was explaining to my friend earlier who was just getting into cryptocurrencies as well. I was saying we were looking at the charts as I was explaining things to him, and I think at this point Ethereum had gone up around 10%. And I said, can you imagine if you had $1 million to spend and you put it into cryptocurrencies, let's say 4 days ago, like on a Sunday or whatever, you put $1 million in, and then you woke up this morning on August 1st and you saw that that Ethereum had gone up by 10%. You would have made $100,000. That is unheard of in any other thing except for maybe real estate and some other like forms of investments, and that is if it just stays at that number, it could go up even higher. I feel like I'm rambling a bit, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm so fascinated with all of this. There's so much money to be made. It's really crazy. If Bitcoin hits 55,000 like they're saying, if Ethereum eventually hits 20,000, like where in I feel like we're just at the very beginning of this huge event that's happening, and we're like the only ones who like know this secret. It's like this, it's like a secret that's right out in the open, but no one else is taking part in it. And it's kind of interesting that we're all here at this time. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys are continuing to do your own research and learn more about what you have your money in, because I think we are in for some very interesting months up ahead. And yeah, I hope you guys all become rich within the next couple of years. I'm not even joking. I hope everybody's just filthy rich. I'm not even joking. All right, guys. You guys are awesome, and I'll talk to you all soon.